Here comes the nasty gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nasty Gram RPG podcast. This is Pale Blue Dot, episode 4, Possibility of Salvation.
Feeling it too hard is the poison to the heart of a cynic.
We fade up on a large, well-lit room. Rows of seats ring the outside of the council chamber. A small table sits in its center. At the back of the room, on the far wall, hangs a flag. The words around the central image of the globe read, People's Council of Antarctica. 5 chairs under the flag are occupied by figures in utilitarian coveralls. The chair in the center of the room is occupied by a bald man in similar dress. One of the counselors speaks. Dr. Arthur Kai, are you aware of the discrepancies noted on Subject 22 Golf? I am, Counselor Gould, but I assure you that the program is moving forward. There have been some challenges with trademarks, and Counselor Gould raises a quieting hand as the counselor next to him leans in close to his ear. Dr. Kai uses the moment to craft his next explanation more carefully. Gould returns to an upright sitting position. Dr. Kai, you have 90 days to provide this council with a progress report. Please note any and all of the trademark disputes so that this council may weigh the benefits of continued investment into your program. Dismissed. Counselors rise and leave the room. Dr. Kai hangs his head and exhales in relief. He looks up to see Counselor Shane. She's middle-aged, petite, and deathly severe. Arthur, she says in a pleading tone, please tell me this project is progressing as you say. Dr. Kai opens his mouth, but no words come out. Shane sighs. Arthur, are you gambling again? Isn't all theoretical science gambling? He tries to smile, but the counselor's frown dissuades him. No, Tanya, it's under control. The counselor speaks. The council is still collecting royalties from the bio-waste patent. They're willing to extend some goodwill to you and your team, but that patent is due to expire soon. And without a tangible breakthrough in the Gaia project, that goodwill is due to expire as well. I have another project, Arthur reflexively blurts out. Flowers, exotic flowers from every corner of the earth, able to be grown in homogeneous environments, aboard ships, on the moon, luxury items. Gould looks away and chews her lip for a long moment. Kai presses. Surely the royalties would afford me more goodwill for the Gaia project? He asks hopefully. Get me something good, something complete, Arthur. Do it soon. She turns and leaves the room.
Welcome back to Pale Blue Dot, everyone. My name is John, and I will be your handler. I am joined by...
Hi, this is Ryan. I'll be playing Iggy Grooverbider, the captain who just successfully piloted the ship back to Earth, everyone.
Congratulations, everyone. No need to clap.
Hey, this is Devin playing Dr. Arthur Kai, Iggy's number 1 fan right now.
What's good, fam? Matt here playing Victor Odrudziev, a scared man.
The bridge of the Utsforsker is quiet. The klaxons are gone. All of the lights are out and panels are out. Some emergency lighting lights along the floorboards and a couple bulbs up above you. And bathing you in this beautiful blue glow, filling the windscreen, is planet Earth. It appears you are orbiting it from the way that it is moving past you, and you sit there in silence.
Arthur looks over to that nav computer that's still up, just to see what it says.
Let's power it off now.
Oh, he looks at it, and in his mind, he sees everything he wants to see, which is that we're home on Earth. And then he blinks, and it's dark screen. So he walks over to it and tries to turn on the auxiliary power.
Can everyone give me a constitution roll?
56 over 50. I almost made it.
I'm not sure what that one is. I think that's 10.
So 30 or 20. 20.
Yeah, 20.
Yep.
20 under.
97. Under 100.
Very, very sane guy.
Okay. Cool. Both of you, please lose 1d4 sanity. Of course.
I'm going to deflect some of this.
Okay.
I'm going to try to. I have a bond with Major Noah Hayes, and I think he's starting to the blame part of grief, and I reduce all of it.
Ooh. Where you take that willpower hit, right?
Or I take 4 willpower points.
Iggy? So what do you lose?
I lose 4. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep rolling. Yeah.
So that triggers your megalomaniac disorder. I don't think we talked about it on camera.
We have not yet, no.
So you had lost enough sanity during the initial foray into the asteroid to hit your breaking point, and that will come with a disorder. And your disorder is megalomania, which means losing 2 or more sanity will trigger an acute episode of megalomania, meaning that any attempts for you to gain help or make a charisma roll to cajole somebody will automatically fail because you feel like you don't need any help.
Fuck. This can't be possible. A week, right? That's how long it took to get from Earth to the asteroid, and now we're here in seconds.
Arthur's nodding, like his head is shaking.
Actually, it was a week to get from the moon to the Lagrange point. To get from Earth, it would probably be a month.
And we're orbiting Earth now, and we're not at the Lagrange point.
Inside the orbit of the moon, we would assume.
Where you are?
Yeah, where we
you're in near Earth orbit. It's a big blue orb on your windscreen.
I'm gonna try to contact.
All systems are down.
Okay.
The auxiliary power, shouldn't it just kick on automatically? That protocols, safety systems, Ignatius.
Oh, you're going to... I didn't design the ship, Doctor.
I'm not accusing you of... I'm asking you, does this have auto on? I don't know.
They all systems failed. All countermeasures failed. Ignatius, Doctor.
Sorry, it's not another month. It would be another probably couple days to get from Earth to the moon, and then another couple days to get from moon to the... Sorry.
But nowhere near the moments, yeah.
Oh, I mean, clearly the Utsforsker is an elite mining exploration ship, but it was not designed to undertake that level of stress of whatever those rings can produce.
Dr. Kai's desperately trying to get that power back on.
Can we even stay on this?
I don't know. We're near Earth now.
But surely they'll send somebody, yes?
Standard protocol is to quarantine the area. We could be giving off radiation, external radiations where we were. We were not. We were just in a place so far from where we are now. We transposed. It's, and now we're back closer to Earth. We need to know how it got here. We need to contact Lunar Base immediately.
I already tried, Doctor. Our systems are down.
Well, help me get them back on.
Iggy, can you help him get it back on?
I can flick switches, but I'm not...
Okay. We'll have to think rationally, yes? Do you think the probe inside this thing, could it still be on? Could you tap into that to communicate anything?
We have no means of power, even contacting the probe.
If we go in, we can't stay in this.
The doctor is right. I mean, we would, without even basic life support, we have days at best.
Well, how he's going to look at the arm pad on his suit. How long does it give is that working? Number one.
The suits are working.
Okay.
Yeah, they have internal battery power.
Number two, does it give a readout of how long we have for oxygen and power in these suits?
In the suits themselves, they were recharged because you were planning on potentially going back out this today. Being conservative with your air, these suits are pretty efficient with rebreathers and that kind of thing. So they can go a couple days in oxygen, but that's being very conservative with movement, not expelling too much CO2, that kind of thing. You know where there is oxygen.
Okay. We're going to need to retrieve that probe. We need to get some form of communication out.
If we go back in there, we need the. Is there any weapons on board? Mining tools, a drill, hammer, anything, lasers.
I mean, there's some small handheld laser drilling for samples. I think we have a couple like mining torches. I mean, most of the mining gear is extraplanetary type stuff. You know, like we use to bore into the asteroid.
Let's gather up everything we can and see if it works.
Dr. Kai walks back into the bridge, and he's holding in his palms, his two hands turned upright. He has a laser pistol. We have this.
I don't. I have basic training, childhood.
I'm familiar with them. I grab it from you.
Yeah, he's too slow to react.
There are basic like handheld tools as well. There are like hammers and things of that nature for like in a kind of maintenance locker.
Anything electronic that still works?
Like what? Like an actual like. Well, there are, like he said, there are some torches, like plasma torches for cutting into rocks. But beyond that, anything there. I mean, there are some like there's flashlights and things that had anything that had internal battery is still functional.
Okay,
just not charging.
I think Victor will probably grab flashlight and up one of the plasma cutters, and then like a hammer, and kind of start strapping them to his suit.
Dr. Kai is coiling just meters and meters and meters of line. He's wrapping it around his arm.
He's also going to Victor's going to go to his quarters and pull out a data stick and plug it into his wrist thing and see if he can access any of the programs he had stored on that, like linguistic AI programs.
Yep, all that seems to be good.
So he'll grab his data sticks of that and kind of like tuck those into a pocket as well.
Okay.
And, go back to everybody. I can't think of anything else I need. Do you need anything? Do we?
We just need to retrieve that probe.
Okay. Ignatius, are you ready? Do you need anything?
Fucking ready, man. Let's do this.
You all enter into the airlock and manually close the door behind you and then pry open as the air. Normally it gets pushed out into these vents, gets kind of pulls you into the door as you pry it open into the vacuum. And you see in front of you the surface of this asteroid and the mining hole that you had gone down initially, that pale red light shining up through it.
I stand above, just staring at it. Arthur closes his eyes and steps out, pushes off of the craft. The line just unfurling from behind him.
And you all descend through the tunnel.
Just dive right in.
The same view greets you as you've seen before. The giant webbing and cocoons with the two concentric rings in the middle. The light's now just a slow spiraling around these two rings. You can just see the smallest light, a more harsh red and green light from the probe as it sits on the ring.
There it is.
Well, I don't have any skill to try to harness whatever you could do with it.
The gravitational anomaly would make this difficult as well. I don't know what gravity will be down there. There is one of us needs to go down, attach this line to the.
I'll do it.
You sure?
Yeah. Just put the line on the probe and bring it back up. It's easy.
We may have to pull you, exert some force. Once you attach the line, you come up first, then the probe.
All right, I get it.
We'll be here to assist in any.
I get it. It's not, if it's I'm going down to the fucking probe, I'm going to put the line on it and bring it back up.
Iggy, not even deigning a response, turns on his little booster jets and starts falling or flying or however you, whatever perspective you're taking on this towards that probe. The line unfurling in the vacuum behind him.
Ignatius, you're moving too quickly.
Middle finger
flipping me off.
rises up. Iggy, you get closer and closer to the ring, and it doesn't have the same gravitational pull as the cocoons. It doesn't seem like there's a artificial grav field here, but you do, every time that light passes by you, you do feel this kind of queasiness in your stomach as you get closer to the probe. Probe is now no longer attached since you sent that last command to it, and it's kind of floating near the ring itself. And why don't you give me a dexterity check, or athletics, whatever, or swim, whichever's better.
I'm pretty good at both. So
He did the 100-meter in college.
We were gonna say swim is like 0G movement.
I got a 97 again though. So that's a strong number for me today.
Consistency is key.
Yeah. So here's what I do then.
You are going too fast.
It is like I feel like I'm doing the going for the freestyle. I'm going in for the kick turn.
Yeah.
And I miss the ring.
You're going exceedingly too fast, and you whiz by the probe and the ring as you fall into the middle, or not the middle. It's another probably 15 kilometers to the middle of this ring. But you start to fall into it. The line starts to unravel, and then turns taut as it runs out of room.
Kai's yanked forward.
Victor grabs a hold of the line as well.
Iggy, when it hits the end of it, like a pendulum, you start to swing back up, and your line catches on the inside of the ring as it pulls you around. What do you do?
I'm gonna try to I did my swim kick spin, so I'm facing back towards the line now.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to use the rockets to kind of slow my momentum and send me back around.
All right,
from where I came.
Why don't you give me athletics?
68.
Okay.
Over 50. Yep.
That's brutal.
Oh,
Jeez. You're kind of boosting back against this thing, and you didn't realize the momentum that you had continuing to swing around, and you do a full loop around this, getting pulled closer and closer. Now the centrifugal force is increasing as the rope gets smaller and smaller, and you have moments, you're hurtling now. The rockets can no longer counteract this force. You're hurtling towards the exterior of this ring.
All right. I'm just going to brace for impact and try to grab onto the ring at this point.
Okay. Why don't you give me a con roll?
Hey, 57 under 60. Yay.
Jeez.
All right, you only take D6 then. You take 1 harm, HP. Temporarily, the air gets pushed out from your lungs as you crash into this, but you have a strong enough head that you're able to grab onto some of the cables with your hand. You bounce a little bit, but you're able to pull yourself back onto the ring and completely stop your momentum. You all see him spin closer, and then slam into the ring, but looks like he was able to grab on.
Ignatius, are you all right?
I'm good. Line secured.
Well done.
You slowly unravel yourself and then more carefully fly up to the probe and attach the line.
Come back to us once you've secured the probe.
You feel the tug, and you see him start to jet towards you.
A little slower this time.
There's an attachment that Dr. Kai found. He's seen them before. It's like a big belt, maybe like a suspender strap that goes around. There's a big reel on it, and they use these on the mining craft. And he winds the line into the wheel. It's like a big fishing line. It just starts retracting.
The probe, the line itself tightens, and then starts to pull the probe up. And as it gets closer, you kind of slow down the wind to let it come at a pretty gentle pace. Iggy beats it to you, and as the probe kind of gently approaches you at a couple kilometers per hour, but you're able to slow. It takes a little while because you don't want it to. You have no way of decelerating except for pushing against it.
Maybe I ask Iggy. The probe is coming at your 7 o'clock. Attach with it and use the boosters from your suit. Slow it down.
You got it, Doc.
It's not too hard. It's not moving nearly as quickly as you were, Iggy, and you grasp onto it and start to slow it down to a relative zero speed in front of you all. The lights on it blinking red and green. A little communication dish kind of whirling around.
That's a positive sign. Are you okay, Iggy?
Oh, yeah, I'm fine. I just overshot the. I used to swim, and that was, it was the kick turn. I was really good at the kick turn. I thought I could use the ring and kind of propel myself back to the probe, and just mistimed it. But I'm good.
Good. Well done.
Dr. Kai pulls out that multi-tool again, and he opens up a side panel on this probe, and there's a small interface, like a little screen on it.
Yep.
It's the same one he used to earlier test the parameters for its readings and its instruments. He wants to get like telemetry data and like astrogation data of the probe, its location and things like that first.
It's easy enough for you to get, and it kind of confirms your suspicions. You are in orbit over Earth. Looks like a stable orbit from the relative speed that it's calculating, and that's kind of the information you get from there.
Are we closer to the Earth now than the Moon?
Yes.
In our orbit.
Oh yeah.
He's going to radio Colorado.
Can you give me a computer science roll?
39 under.
Okay. You know that these probes typically are used to bounce signals from the main ship down, but you're able to bypass that relay connection and try to send directly to Buckley Space Force Command in Colorado.
SOS.
There's no way for them to respond to you on this computer, but you are relatively certain that the communication went out and was received. You at least got the AC signal from it.
I've sent word to Earth. Our orbit has changed. We're no longer in the Lagrange point. That's what I suspected. We transposed somehow.
Can you tell if it was the probe that did it, or was it?
The probe experienced the same thing that we experienced. If we want to know how exactly we moved, we're going to need it from Lunar Command, Buckley.
I'm questioning more. Why?
I don't know. It seems the energy was activated. It seemed to stop when our core went offline. Perhaps when the probe detached. I don't know. But we moved.
We can see. Could it have been them in those cocoons, those creatures?
Maybe.
But perhaps it was like some sort of warning that they can. I mean, if they could travel that fast in such a short amount of time, could they not just have
struck Earth?
Yes, wiped us all out.
Oh, I doubt that would be our intention or their intention.
Oh, good. You made me very nervous for a second.
Firing a shot across our nose. Whatever this is highly intelligent. If you are right, Doctor, I tend to believe you.
Well, if intelligent, there's got to be communication.
See if you can pull that frequency data from the probe. Here, there's a port right here.
Victor will go over to the port and pull the cord out from his wrist pad and plug it in and see if it has any data.
Sure. Why don't you roll your, was it signal int or cryptography? I forget which one.
I have cryptography, but I also have 1 in SIGINT.
It'd be probably cryptography then.
Oh, that's a leaner. I've never had a leaner before. That's a fail, 80 over 60.
Okay. You definitely see that there's some sort of pattern there in the signature. You're not sure if it's just the electromagnetic or gravitational waves that were causing this signal boost, and maybe it was more rhythmic than it is a signal or a communication.
Okay.
But you're not sure.
The probe, it registered, the movement, the power inside of these coils, but it doesn't. I don't think it was any form of communication.
Show me.
I'll twist his arm over to show you the data on his arm pad. You see, it would correlate to the spinning of whatever that light is.
That's right. It spins faster. Those gravitational waves, it can harness it somehow.
And no electrical impulses or anything like that for.
It's as if we were falling.
It certainly felt like that.
Yeah, I got that same feeling, like to a much lower magnitude when I approached the ring.
It knows how to conserve energy. When the original probe was sent out to adjust its course, after it had moved, it slowed down, readjusted its trajectory, and then began accelerating again. It's being piloted. I think we know who the pilots are.
Great. And if you're right about the web, that is how they communicate with, I guess we could call it its engine.
Perhaps it's time we attempt to make contact. He looks at Iggy.
I don't want to dissuade it, but we have no idea how these things communicate. They've already killed one. We didn't.
Well, let's not be, too hasty. It is possible that the Major's still alive. Like maybe their ship uses some kind of psychic link drive, and he somehow latched into it, and it's his brain waves that actually took us back to the Earth because he wanted to, be with his family.
You can't be serious, Iggy.
That's not impossible. I don't know what to believe.
Perhaps
Pheromones.
Dr. Kai looked like he's going to say something, but he stops.
Don't arachnids and insects communicate through
Clicking
and like pheromones and things?
Sure, but do you really think these would be an insect? Why not a crustacean?
Dr. Kai looks like he has no idea. He shrugs. 8 legs, right, John?
Yep. Well, 4 legs, 4 arms, but yeah.
8 limbs.
That would be an arachnid. Yeah, that would be arachnid, not insectoid. You're right, Doctor.
Those types of communication are evolutionary. It's not unfounded that similar creatures, no matter how far apart, adapt similar traits.
Sure, on Earth, but this is...
I understand. It's hard to imagine. Help is days away. We don't have that much oxygen. We're going to have to go down there eventually, if not now.
Perhaps we can attempt to communicate before actually stepping in. We can take our one of our audio devices and we can record a message and perhaps just drop it in. And obviously they would come and get it. And I don't know if they can build this and pilot it. Then they've got to have some form of technology in there that they could decipher our language. Something.
Oh, I'm sure they do. There are a plethora of spider deities from ancient civilizations. Anansi, Nath was related to spiders. There's spiders in ancient Japanese folklore. Even the Nazca lines in Peru could be they had a lot of weaving and spiders in their cultural heritage. So, I mean, there's great potential that this is not these creatures' first trip to our planet.
So are you suggesting that they could already communicate and they chose not to?
I mean, maybe they just, again, they couldn't really identify us as human with the suits on.
We chose to walk in. We tried to communicate, but in our own way. We walked in, we invaded their space. These creatures are intelligent. If we can do something to assuage any hostilities, I don't know.
So if we record a message of peace at the very least and put it through their airlock, then if Iggy's right and they can already understand, then they would know. They would get that we're not here to hurt them.
Perhaps a different type of language then. Mathematical formula. Hundreds of years ago, decades ago, the United States sent out a deep space probe. On it was a disk with all kinds of information, how we looked, even the song recorded on vinyl. But there were mathematical equations to show that we understand these things. It's a similar language no matter where you go in the universe. Science, mathematics, it's a universal language. Perhaps using that it's very simple. It's a series of numbers. Much like Morse code, we can communicate these ideas.
Morse code is basic and simple. It's child's play at this point, but
it was created by humans. Mathematics was not. He's going to use the formula for gravity.
Okay.
9.8 meters per second squared.
Yeah.
Calculating, and then all pendulum movement and things like that. He puts in just these equations to show that we know what's going on.
You're putting it into the probe?
Into the probe.
Okay.
And maybe using some of like that. It's seismic readers. It could instead activate them to just vibrate in a certain way, like sensitive pads on the bottom of the probe.
Yeah, you feel confident that you're able to get it to send that data out with those pads, and you think it's ready for whatever communication you want to try.
Ignatius.
Yes, Doctor?
Are you willing to go down once more?
Oh, of course, I'd be honored.
You will be the one bringing this communication to them. First contact.
I'm ready.
Go in slowly. We'll belay your descent with the line.
Okay.
Good luck, son.
Iggy, you grab onto the probe and start jetting down towards that airlock you had entered in the first time. The going is smooth, a little bit more weight to it now that the probe is attached to the line. But Victor and Arthur, you're able to keep up and get him to the point where he lands inside that cone of the airlock.
Made contact with the ground.
Drop the probe and get out there as soon as you can.
I put the probe down and then I look longingly over at the webs.
You put the probe down and your hand kind of touches the bottom, these webs that are encasing you, and you pluck one, and the airlock closes behind you. You all see that. Closes behind Iggy and the probe, and then in front of you opens into that first cocoon.
I go forward.
Dr. Kai is looking at his chronometer on his wrist, and he wants to record the time it takes for him to enter, the thing to close, and then for the thing to open up back again. He's going to mark those times digitally on his watch. And then when it opens again, he's going to look at the doctor and says, "Let us go."
You kind of Iggy, you drag the probe into the middle of this cargo, or into the middle of this cocoon. Those other small ovoids kind of stacked up all along the edge, looking down the hall to the med bay that you went the first time, and then the other hall to the right, where Noah's body was tossed down, where you first saw the creature. The rest of you float down towards the airlock and enter.
I'm going to go right.
It takes a second, but the airlock closes behind Victor and Arthur and opens to the cocoon. you see the probe sitting in the middle, its lights blinking, that pattern that you had sent, and you do not see Iggy.
He looks forward. He looks right. He looks around the room.
Bliat. Iggy,
Doctor?
where did you go?
I figured as long as I was down here, maybe I could find Major Hayes.
On your own? You need to come back.
But there's so much more we can learn down here.
Not if you are dead.
They'll understand us. Besides, if we take off, it's like I said, if I remove my helmet, they'll see me. They'll know I'm human. They'll know I'm a friend.
Iggy, you enter this room. A deep red light shines down from above this cocoon. The ground itself is covered in these things that you would call plants, rows and rows of them, and a fog, a haze kind of lays over this entire room. You can kind of feel the heat from that deep red light above you. And you turn on your camera and send it to Arthur, kind of without thinking. Arthur, you see on your heads up that plant, hundreds of them, thousands of them, that fruit growing from that pale white stalk, branched. These plants are a good, 8 to 10 centimeters in width, going up meters in length and height. Multiple branches coming off of it with hundreds of these fruits hanging. This harsh red light above and a mist, a hazy mist kind of covering the entire cocoon. Why don't you roll me a sanity check, please?
Ignatius, where are you? 11. Critical success.
Okay.
This is a good thing.
I've found something that no one on Earth has ever seen before.
Kai's going to look around. That red light. He's going to look if one of these hallways.
You now notice that the one where Noah was thrown down has this harsh red glow at the end of the tunnel that's kind of baking around the entire walls.
He looks at Victor and he points down that hallway.
Down there.
Yes, come on.
Is it lit in these?
Generally there's this dim red bioluminescence that's kind of giving enough light to see, but not great. But in this room, there's a very harsh red light that's being cast from above.
I think Victor's going to turn on his flashlight and kind of like hold it out in front of him. And as they're walking down, he's going to like flash it down any corridors that we pass to see if there's anything.
Yeah.
If they're not alone.
These tunnels are unidirectional. There's no branching paths. Seems like these cocoons are like the centers of something. There was that med bay. This looks like kind of like where you came from, kind of like a cargo hold. And Arthur would describe this as a greenhouse. But you shine your light on the ground of that tunnel as you walk. You see red blood.
Is everything still like illuminated in silver, like when our light passes over it, and it's just a spot that remains red?
Dried red blood.
Dr. Kai, you've got to see this. It's amazing.
You kind of stop as Arthur continues beyond.
He's picking up his pace a little bit.
Victor's going to follow the spatters of blood.
It only lasts a little bit, and actually it looks like there was a big puddle, and it goes towards that. Actually, why don't you roll search for me? Or forensics if you have it. Whichever's better.
Oh, I got search.
Okay.
Oh, that's a big fail. 97.
That's the number of the day.
It is the number of the day. You try to follow this patch of blood. You see the big splash and a couple of drops that go towards the greenhouse, but then you kind of lose sight of the trail. You don't know if it picked it up.
Yep.
And no more, it wasn't dropping anymore.
Victor's, like you said, Victor had fallen behind as he was kind of like looking for signs of this. And as soon as he can't follow it anymore, he's gonna pick up his pace and sort of like jog into the room behind Arthur. His blood. I found Victor in the hole.
Yes, he might be in here.
Hayes' blood in the hole. It just sort of ended before it got in here. There was a pool. It was. Can I roll first aid to see if I can tell how much blood he's lost?
Sure.
Yeah, 42 over 30.
The amount of blood is not, was not, you don't think it was enough to kill somebody, like immediately, like bleed out. But with the fact that you kind of lost the trail, you don't know how much he was continuing to bleed as he moved.
Perhaps these things started sucking it up and eating it as they were walking. I don't know.
A little snack, a little walk and go snack.
Yeah, a little walk me down.
Or they cleaned up and they just missed a spot.
Yep. But the initial blood spatter is not enough to kill him.
Okay.
Or even to be unconscious or anything. But you don't have an idea of anything beyond that.
It wasn't enough for him to have bled out.
It broke the seal in his suit. I don't think he has much time if he's alive. Another light comes on in the room. They start crisscrossing.
What are these things? Like plants?
Arthur walks over to one, bigger one. He
Food?
just sort of supports it in his hand.
Don't touch it.
I believe the term would be xenoflora, Doctor.
That is correct, Ignatius.
Aren't they wonderful?
I don't. It's stunning, to be honest. I can't even. I've never even imagined something like this.
He rubs his finger over the outside of it, feeling those like little nodules.
Little orbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. He's going to go find a smaller one.
Okay.
He's going to pick it.
Sure.
He takes a photograph first,
Mm-hmm.
and then he plucks one and puts it in a little, like a little bit bigger rectangular container. It's like a Tupperware.
Okay. Why don't you roll me like a notice or so? Is there like a
Alertness?
Yeah.
75 over.
Okay. No, never mind. you grab that little fruit and put it in like a little container.
Do you have any more of those, Doctor? I'd like I'm wondering what kind of soil.
We shouldn't be. If we're worried about them thinking we came in here to attack, you're stealing from them. You're taking something that belongs to them. You can't. We have to leave.
You're right. We should leave something in return.
We left
Trade.
the probe. We left the probe to communicate. We cannot be in here. We have to go back.
Okay, let's go. You're right, Doctor.
Iggy, we have to go. We can come back after.
You're right. The probe is better contact method. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I got carried away.
I understand. This is like nothing else we could have seen, but we have to be as safe as we can. We can't end up like, and he'll point back towards the blood puddle in the other room. We can't afford to wind up like that.
Doctor takes out that fruit and he's going to put it back down on the ground, but he's going to crouch down and he's going to look is there a soil that it's grown in? How are the bases of these things?
Yeah, there's it's kind of like a hard clay soil. It all looks
crumbles
red
it in his hand.
Yeah, everything looks red in here just because of the harsh red light. You find it fairly interesting that it's a red light. Your exobiology kind of assumes that this was grown on a red star, like a planet that they're trying to emulate a red star or a red dwarf or something.
Like plants on Earth use ultraviolet light from our specific star.
Yep. But yeah, it's a pretty hard tack clay that these are kind of bursting through, and it looks like a red clay.
Are we getting, so this light is more intense. Are we getting
feel
any
the heat?
So this is this be infrared?
Maybe.
He's going to take some light readings. He has another little instrument.
Yeah.
He also has one of these at home, so he wants to see what they need to grow.
Yeah, it appears to be some infrared light and a lot of just light on the red spectrum and a certain amount of heat. So it's a very powerful light, whatever it is. As you're pulling out your light spectrometer, you had tried to you were talking about getting something to communicate with something on Noah's body that was not related to the suit.
A wireless network.
You see something show up as like you can connect to this, and it is a recorder, a small voice recorder. You feel boop, boop. You see as your heads up display shows this. You kind of were leaving your connections open to see if anything would show up.
Yeah, he was pairing.
Yep.
He looks at his display on his arm. How's the signal strength?
Fairly good.
Okay.
Maybe not in this room, but not too far away.
He's going to do some old school science. He's going to walk back toward the way we came a little bit, check if signal strength declines, and then try and triangulate maybe where this recorder is.
Okay. Would be a good roll for that. Forensics sounds good to me.
Cool.
I give it plus 20 because of computer science bullshit too.
I critically failed.
Oh no.
88. And I already checked it off today. Only bad things happen to Arthur. He thinks this is punishment.
You're walking back through the cargo hold because it seems to be getting stronger, and you're not really focusing on where you're going. You start following the signal, and it's leading you back into the med bay.
If he's leaving the room, Victor's following him.
Yep.
Probably not like right beside him, but like a few paces back.
You see that he's holding the flashlight down, and it's still lit, but it's just pointing towards the floor, it's back and forth as his arm moves. But he's just looking down at his display, following that solely.
Have you found something?
He's here. He's close.
You sure?
Yes. No, but I don't know. His voice recorder, I connected to it. He's somewhere close. I picked it up.
Arthur, you look back down, you continue to follow. You enter the med bay room, and you're just not paying attention, and your foot gets caught on something on the ground, and you go full forward into the ground, smashing face first into one of the bodies of one of these creatures. Your helmet smashes against its skin. Your entire suit is covered in this pale liquid. Why don't you roll sanity for me? Minus 20, because you critically failed.
I fail.
Okay.
43 will be adjusted 30.
Roll a d6, please.
1.
Okay. You lift yourself up, and Victor, you see this. One of the creatures is lying motionless on the floor of this med bay, along with the other one that was strung up at an angle. And Arthur went full face into the body of this creature and comes back up on his legs, a crack coming down his visor. You get warnings about internal air pressure, and you see, even though the atmosphere, there's the same pressure really, so there's no like hissing of oxygen, but you just get a warning that the oxygen level is increasing because it was a higher percentage than what your suit was providing. You kind of get up on your hands, and dripping off of you is this viscous liquid.
Oh, God.
Arthur, are you okay?
Oh, God.
Iggy, you need to come back to the med bay. Quick.
He gets up and he just starts like why he can't see. He's reaching out with his hands.
Stand still.
Is it the major? I'll be right there.
He stops. He starts trying to wipe away from his visor that
careful
slime.
There is the crack. Don't put too much pressure. You could rupture it fully.
29% oxygen.
Victor's going to look around for some sort of fabric or something that he can use.
You have a repair tool like on your suit. There's like an emergency repair.
Well, I want to get something to like wipe off. Yeah, like wipe off the goo to like see the extent of the damage.
There's no real fabric in here, but you could use like part of the repair tool. They're like patches that you use to like patch your suit. They're like fabric patches that you could use to wipe.
All right. Yeah. So Victor will pull off his repair kit from his suit, and he'll start trying to work on Arthur's. You can see his hands are a little unstable as he's like trying to maneuver around this goo. And
Iggy, you run into the room. You see Victor furiously trying to wipe off this liquid from Arthur, a crack coming down Arthur's helmet. He's still standing in the body of one of these creatures laying on the ground in front of the other one that was strung up in one of these pods.
His suit is cracked. Then there's another one here.
I'll focus on the helmet and on the maybe this, is there like a glue or like in the kit that like
to specifically to fix.
So I'll try to
crack. Yeah.
I'll try to seal the fissure, and that way it'll secure pressure for a return.
Please, I have no idea how to use this.
Calm down. And then Kai takes a couple of shallow breaths, measuring the oxygen. He gets a little lightheaded, but he holds his breath, and then he pops that visor off, and then he extends his hand for that patch kit. He's holding his visor like a dinner plate in the other hand, and he points to the crack on the inside.
Victor will kind of like
wide-eyed.
Yeah, like he's standing there with like part of the repair kit in his hand because he's given half of it to Iggy, and he's just sort of like half holding it out to you, but sort of stops and it's like
the liquid container, Doctor. The liquid.
He points to one end and then draws his finger in a line across the crack, and then points at the other end, and then points at the kit.
He'll pull it. Victor pulls out the little bottle and hands it to Iggy, and is like, "You need to take care of this."
Yeah, I'll seal the.
You run that repair seal over the visor, Arthur. For what you can tell, it is breathable. You can feel a little euphoric because it's a high oxygen content, but you're breathing fine. It's a little, so you take like a whiff, a full breath.
For science.
And these creatures themselves laying here dead give off this musky, almost rotten odor, especially the one that's laying on the top there. But you do feel like a very muggy, humid air, and that kind of rotten smell of these two creatures below you. Why don't you roll me a Constitution? Constitution. Is it Constitution?
Con, yeah.
Con, yeah.
Con times 5.
Roll a Constitution saving throw.
Kai is thinking, so he did only have a couple of kilograms of personal materials. He was going to bring his humidifier.
Yeah.
But he ended up bringing some other things. And this
feels nice.
It feels nice, other than the cold, dry air in space.
Mm-hmm.
58 over 50.
All right. Why don't you roll a D4, lose that much sanity?
A 2.
Okay.
That puts me past my breaking point.
Okay.
Sweet Jeebus.
And he can't project this because it's all good, man.
These are, by the way, just for, although you can't, never mind, it doesn't matter because you can't adapt to the unnatural. So
correct.
But these are all unnatural sanity.
Awesome.
Breaking point. Oh, God. We can come back to that after the next.
Yeah, that usually happens when.
Yeah, there's a little bit of downtime.
Yeah.
You feel that humid air kind of hits your nostrils and you kind of relax. Your whole body. You were all tensed up because all this was happening all so suddenly, but you kind of relax and you're just thinking about that room full of exobiology, fruits from another world, these creatures below you, just a absolute treasure trove of science, all at your fingertips, yours to do with what you will if you take the opportunity. It's just right there in front of you.
He has this very serene look on his face as he looks around. The visor is still in his hand. He hasn't attached it yet.
Mm-hmm.
He turns and looks at that signal strength, and he'll put that visor. No, he just walks. He's going to turn, and he looks down at himself. He sees all the goo, but that's not a problem. He looks up at that creature that's still hung and wonders. It's the thought of the horror that we first saw it. It's not new now. He just walks. Doesn't pick up. He walks past the flashlight, and it casts his shadow on the far wall.
Doctor, are you okay?
Thank you, Doctor. He starts He's like wandering.
Dr. Kai, where are you going? Victor's flashlight goes up towards him and sort of past the direction that he's walking to see what he's heading towards.
There's another tunnel that leads out of this room. One that came in, one came out. You had seen it before, but never went down it. And it looks like any of the other ones, but he's starting to walk towards it.
Where are you going?
We lost something. I'm trying to find it.
Iggy, you need to help me grab him. He can't wander off. We need to get out of here before something gets worse. Doctor, can you put your helmet on for me?
It's just up here.
That's fine, but it'll be easier for you to see with your helmet on. Iggy, let us go. Start making his way towards him.
Doctor stops when you get to him. He's just looking down at the visor in his hand.
Victor will reach out and like slowly take the visor.
He turns and looks at you as you do it.
What are the oxygen levels on the suit at?
For his?
For just all like in.
Oh,
generally?
yours are probably now 15% utilized. So 85% remaining. Especially yours is actually lower because of all the excitement that you had. So you're probably at 80, 75%, 80% available oxygen reserves.
I mean,
Here, doctor, let me help you with that. And Victor will,
I don't. As long as we're
put his helmet or put Arthur's helmet back on.
As long as we're in breathable air, would it make sense to conserve our oxygen levels?
I don't. I'm sure, doctor. We don't know what else is in the air. Just because we don't know spores or bacterium, viruses.
He's looking at his wrist again and then looks down the hall.
You start walking.
Thank you, doctor.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
What are you looking for? What did you lose?
It's just up here.
What is?
The door at the end of this hall opens to a massive cocoon. Cold air hits your face, Kai, and you all see this kind of wind blow down the tunnel. You see up along the walls of this entire cocoon these crystalline pods that are all about 4 meters tall with frost all along them. Arthur, you walk up to the closest one and you just rub a hand down the frost, and staring back at you are 100 eyes, closed, frozen in stasis. And then you look down the hall, down in the middle of the room, and standing in the middle with his helmet off is Major Noah Hayes. And that's where we'll end.
No, nope. I'm gonna have fucking nightmares, dude.
Hello, Noah.
Shit.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Pale Blue Dot. Please spread the word, leave a review, tell a friend, confess listening to Nastagram to a priest. Anything and everything helps. Intro music by Wilhelm Scream. Scores by Adrian Von Ziegler. Check out our page at NastaGramRPG.com, where you can find links to all of our socials, as well as information about our other arcs. Stop on by the Nastagram Lounge on Facebook.com and let us know your favorite horror movie trope.
That's nasty.
Number one.
The suits are working.
Okay.
Yeah, they have internal battery power.
Number two.
Hold on. David
No,
Josh.
that's the Space Force coming.
No.
They're here for Major Hayes.
United Nations. Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah. It's the world police.
World police.